So, picture this. You're in the deep sea of capital markets, right? And a seemingly ordinary economic data release happens.
Mm-hmm. Just a regular Tuesday for most people.
Exactly. You're maybe checking your phone, you see a slight dip in an exchange rate, and you just think, well, that's random market noise.
Right. Just a blip.
But the terrifying truth, and this is what we're getting into today, is that it wasn't random at all.
No, not even a little bit. It was a fiercely precise reaction.
Exactly. The volatility, the money wiped out hundreds of millions of dollars, by the way. It was mathematically calculated the exact moment that data dropped.
It really is the ultimate high-stakes power game. I mean, it's played entirely in milliseconds.
Which is just wild to even wrap your head around.
It is. We're talking about a scale of speed and honestly a scale of money that completely defies ordinary human comprehension.
Yeah, so that's our mission for this deep dive. We were cracking open a financial black box today.
Which is not something you get to do very often.
Definitely not. We've got this fascinating stack of source material. It's essentially a documentary-style study on how Japanese macroeconomic announcements manipulate the US dollar and yen exchange rate.
Yeah, and the anchor here is this landmark working paper from the National Bureau of Economic Research.
Right. And the architects behind it,
Yeah.
two elite economists. We're talking about Takatoshi Ito from the University of Tokyo and Yuko Hashimoto from Columbia University.
Right. These are basically observers standing at the absolute pinnacle of academic finance.
Yeah, they are not messing around.
Exactly. And they managed to secure this unprecedented tool. Like they completely bypassed the standard lagging financial charts.
One that everyone else looks at.
Exactly. Instead, they got their hands on proprietary high-frequency trading data.
Which is kind of the holy grail for this kind of research.
Oh, absolutely. They mapped the exact microscopic seconds when the Japanese government speaks. And this data, it reveals how global capital makes life or death choices before a human being can even blink.
I mean, just the scale of the foreign exchange market alone is staggering. To give you some context, we are talking about trillions of dollars changing hands every single day.
Trillions. With a T. It's almost abstract at that point.
Totally. And the US dollar and the Japanese yen, well, they make up one of the most heavily traded currency pairs on the planet.
Right. And to really understand the heartbeat of that specific pair, the researchers used data from a platform called the Electronic Broking System, or EBS.
Right, EBS. And we should clarify, EBS is not like a consumer app.
Oh, no. You cannot just download this on your phone.
Yeah, no Robinhood equivalent here.
Exactly. It is this sterile institutional nervous system of global finance. It basically represents the vast majority of global spot trading for the dollar-yen pair.
So this is the interbank market, the absolute heavyweights.
Yeah, banks trading with other banks in blocks of millions.
Which brings us to the actual data revolution this study represents. Because, you might think trading evolves slowly over hours.
A lot of people still think that.
Right. But the fact is, all the crucial plot twists happen in a compressed window of just a few seconds.
It's a complete paradigm shift. I mean, historically, financial research looked at exchange rates in 5-minute intervals.
5 minutes? That seems so long.
It is. Researchers would take a snapshot of the price at 9:00 a.m.
Yeah.
And then, another snapshot at 9:05 a.m.
Okay, wow.
But in the modern financial world, 5 minutes is a geological era. I mean, entire civilizations of wealth rise and fall in 5 minutes.
Right. It's like, okay, imagine I'm trying to figure out how a magician performs a sleight of hand trick.
Okay, I like this analogy.
And you hand me a flip book. Right. But it only has one picture every 5 minutes.
They're not going to see the trick.
Exactly. I'm going to learn absolutely nothing. I need a 10,000 frame per second phantom camera to see the exact microsecond the card goes up the sleeve.
That is exactly it. The traditional 5-minute chart is that useless flip book.
Yeah.
And the 1-second EBS data that this study secured, that is your high-speed phantom camera.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Right. It captures the exact second a news release hits the wires. It records every single trade, every fractional shift in price that fires off in the ensuing scramble.
Okay, so we have to understand the core logic driving those explosions, because honestly, it completely shatters how most of us are taught to view economics.
Oh, it really slaps you in the face. It's totally counterintuitive.
Right. Like, if a country releases positive economic data, say, employment is up, factories are busy, wages are rising, the currency should naturally go up.
Right.
Well, I mean, that logic will just bankrupt you.
Wait, okay. I want to pause here and challenge this a bit.
Go for it.
Because anyone who has ever traded a stock knows the old saying, right? Buy the rumor, sell the news.
Sure, yeah.
We all know the market is a giant anticipation machine. It eats the future and digests it into today's price. The concept that news is already priced in, that's just Finance 101.
You're absolutely right. The concept of pricing in is totally well known.
So what makes this study's findings so groundbreaking then? What makes it groundbreaking is the mathematical quantification of the micromechanics.
Okay, break that down for me.
They aren't just philosophizing about rumors, They mathematically mapped the exact delta of the surprise.
The surprise delta.
Exactly. Look, if an economic data point perfectly matches what the market expected it to be, the exchange rate might not move a single microscopic inch.
Even if the news is like undeniably fantastic.
Even then, the market does not care about the truth. It only cares about the discrepancy between the expectation and the truth.
So the magic formula is pretty simple. Surprise equals the official actual value minus the market consensus forecast.
You got it. And that consensus forecast is highly regimented.
How so?
Well, financial terminals, like Bloomberg, they survey dozens of top economists weeks before the actual announcement.
Oh, okay. So they're getting a baseline.
Exactly.
Right.
They calculate the median prediction from all those experts, and that median number becomes the official baseline of reality. So the exchange rate movements, they don't care about absolute good or absolute bad. They literally only care about how much better or how much worse the actual data is compared to that predetermined baseline.
Okay, can you give me a concrete example of that, just to make it real?
Yeah, for sure. Let's say the consensus forecast expects a really severe economic contraction. Like, the market expects GDP to shrink by 5%.
Which is terrible news.
Terrible. But then the actual government data drops, and GDP only shrank by 2%.
Okay, so the reality is still objectively terrible. The economy is shrinking.
Right, but the surprise is highly positive.
Oh, I see. Because it wasn't as bad as they thought.
Exactly. So in that scenario, the currency will likely surge in value.
That is just wild. The actual number is completely irrelevant. The delta is everything.
The delta is the only thing that matters.
But surely not all data triggers the same reaction, right? Like, you see a banner on a financial news channel flashing retail sales data released, and you just assume traders are frantically clicking buttons.
Yeah, that's what the TV wants you to think. But the study provides a very strict power map of market killers.
Market killers. I love that term.
And the reality is, some economic indicators you see on the evening news are completely worthless to a trader.
Wait, really? Like what?
They're just misfiring bullets. Like, the data reveals exactly which Japanese statistics actually shake the yen.
Okay, so what are the absolute kings? The unquestioned market killers?
The kings are the preliminary GDP numbers and something called the Tankan survey.
Okay, preliminary GDP makes sense. I mean, it's the earliest official scorecard for the entire economy.
Right, exactly.
But the Tankan is fascinating to me. It's a quarterly business sentiment survey conducted by the Bank of Japan.
Yeah, that's the one. They literally just mail out questionnaires to thousands of corporate executives.
Which is basically them asking, how do you feel about the economy right now? Are conditions favorable or unfavorable?
Pretty much.
But that's so highly qualitative, it's just vibes.
I know, it sounds like just vibes, right? Yet it hits incredibly hard. The Tankan consistently causes immediate vertical jumps in the exchange rate.
That is insane. What are some of the other heavy hitters?
Well, you also have the Tokyo Consumer Price Index, the Producer Price Index, and the unemployment rate. Those all move the needle.
Okay, so those are the killers, but what about the duds? The metrics that traders just completely ignore.
Oh, retail sales have almost zero impact.
Really? Zero?
Basically zero. Housing starts. Nothing. Industrial production data often just lands with a total FUD.
Wait, I have to stop you on one specific dud mentioned in the research because it blew my mind.
The national CPI.
Yes, the National Consumer Price Index, the national inflation rate.
Yeah, that one surprises everyone.
You are telling me that in a major global economy, bond traders and currency dealers completely ignore the official national inflation data. I mean, that defies logic.
It sounds completely absurd. Until, you understand the timeline.
Okay, explain the timeline.
The national CPI is a ghost. And it's a ghost entirely because of the Tokyo CPI.
Oh, right, because Tokyo comes out first.
Exactly. The Tokyo Consumer Price Index is released a full 4 weeks earlier than the national CPI.
4 whole weeks.
4 weeks. And Tokyo is the undisputed economic engine of Japan.
So it's basically a massive preview.
Exactly. By the time the national data comes out a month later, the Tokyo data has already acted as a comprehensive spoiler. It literally drains the national CPI of all its surprise value.
Wow. It's like someone leaking the ending of a highly anticipated movie a month before you sit in the theater.
That is a perfect analogy.
By the time the actual premiere happens, your emotional impact is just zero.
Zero. The market aggressively hunts for the earliest possible signal.
And once it has that signal, subsequent broader data points are totally stripped of their power.
Yeah, that is the exact mechanism. I mean, the market is ruthlessly efficient at seeking the leading edge of information. It discards lagging indicators completely, no matter how comprehensive they supposedly are.
This brings us to another foundational assumption this study destroys.
Oh, the trade balance stuff.
Yeah, because we are all taught in basic macroeconomics that a country's currency is backed by what it exports and imports.
Right. You sell more cars and electronics to the world than you buy back, your currency gets stronger.
Right, the traditional trade balance.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the textbook anchor of exchange rates.
Yeah.
Exports versus imports.
But in modern high-frequency finance, that textbook logic is just dead.
Completely dead.
Because the data from the study reveals that the trade balance has practically zero impact on the yen's returns. Traders do not care about the physical goods crossing the ocean.
No, they really don't.
Yeah.
What matters instead is the balance of payments.
You're right. The current account.
Exactly.
Why the distinction, though? Why is one useless and the other so powerful?
Because the balance of payments includes interest income, dividends, and foreign investment return.
Oh, the invisible money.
Yes. We are living in the era of hyperfluid capital, a physical cargo ship stacked with thousands of cars leaving Tokyo harbor. That doesn't move the needle anymore.
But a digital spreadsheet of corporate dividend payments flying across a fiber optic cable.
That moves markets instantly. Capital flows absolutely dwarf trade flows today.
So the dealers trading the yen on this EBS platform, they're looking at financial yield, not manufactured widgets.
Exactly. When the balance of payments drops and the yield surprise is high, the money moves at the speed of light.
Which leads directly into the speed of that movement. We need to talk about the 60-second life or death line.
This is where it gets really intimidating.
Truly. When a piece of relevant macro news drops, say, a significant surprise in that Tankan survey we mentioned, the market's pricing happens at literal light speed.
Milliseconds.
Yeah. If you wait 60 seconds after a news release to make your trade, you are not catching the train.
No, you're the crop being consumed by everyone else.
The study actually proves that the vast majority of the exchange rate return adjustment is completely finalized within one single minute.
Right. The price just jumps vertically.
And once that new price level is found, it holds remarkably flat for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, it stabilizes incredibly fast.
I am struggling to understand the physical mechanics of this, though. Like, how does a human being process a complex macroeconomic report, decide on a trading strategy, physically enter the order, and execute the trade in under 1 second?
Well, that's the secret. They don't.
They don't.
Human beings are entirely incapable of participating in that initial 60-second window. It's physically impossible. This is purely the domain of algorithms and conditional orders.
Oh, wow. So the dealers are setting up traps before the data even drops.
Precisely. Traders program their systems with if-then parameters hours in advance.
So they're like, if the GDP surprise is positive by 0.2%, by 50 million yen at market price.
Exactly. And if the surprise is negative, sell immediately. So when the official number actually hits the wire, it is fed directly into these servers.
No human reading required.
Nope. The algorithms read the data, calculate the delta against the consensus, and fire off the trades in milliseconds.
So it is a one-time sudden jump to a new equilibrium.
Basically.
If your data feed is delayed by even 10 seconds, your trading strategy is entirely useless.
You are bringing a knife to a laser fight? The war is over before you even finish reading the headline on your screen.
That really highlights the brutal efficiency of the interbank market. The information is digested, the algorithms fire, the portfolios are rebalanced, and the new reality is cemented all before you can blink.
It's terrifyingly efficient.
But wait, let's circle back to that paradox we established earlier.
Which one?
What happens when the data perfectly matches the expectation? The actual number exactly equals the consensus forecast.
Oh, right. Zero surprise.
Yes, zero surprise. So the price return is zero. The exchange rate does not move.
Correct. The price line stays completely flat.
But the study reveals this hidden war underneath that flat price.
It's one of my favorite parts of the research.
Mine too. Because even with zero surprise and zero price movement, The mere release of the data triggers an explosive surge in trading volume and volatility. The number of deals just skyrockets.
Yeah, this is one of the most profound insights in the entire paper, honestly. The announcement itself acts as a flare gun.
Flare gun, I like that.
It activates thousands of latent trading orders just waiting in the dark.
Describe this for me. Because if the price is flat, what does this activity actually look like? Are we talking about guys in suspenders yelling at each other on a trading floor?
Oh, no, no. This is entirely electronic. It is happening in these sterile server racks and colocation centers in Tokyo and New Jersey.
So it's silent chaos.
Yes, it's an electronic storm. Limit orders are being placed, canceled, and replaced in fractions of a microsecond.
But why? The price didn't change. Everyone got exactly the economic number the market predicted. Why are they fighting over nothing?
Because trading does not happen because we agree.
Oh.
It happens because we stare at the exact same irrefutable fact and completely disagree on what to do next.
That is the cognitive black hole right there. Smart people looking at the same number and disagreeing.
The researchers actually call this heterogeneous expectations.
Heterogeneous expectations, meaning the market average is just a mathematical illusion.
Exactly. It's a composite. It doesn't actually exist in the real world of trading desks.
Okay, let's look at a granular example of this.
Sure. Say the consensus forecast for GDP growth was 2%.
Okay.
And then the actual official number comes out at exactly 2%. Zero surprise.
On paper, everything is perfectly aligned. Everyone's happy.
But look at the individuals comprising that average. Trader A didn't actually believe the 2% consensus.
Ah.
Trader A internally modeled the data and secretly expected a weak 1%. They positioned their bank's money accordingly, betting on a weak number.
Right, and Trader B?
Trader B ran a completely different model. Trader B secretly expected a robust 3% and positioned their money based on that bullish private theory.
Oh. So when the official number drops at exactly 2%.
Both Trader A and Trader B instantly realized their private, subjective theories were dead wrong.
Yes. They are both caught entirely off guard. They're both suddenly holding the wrong portfolios.
Exactly. The consensus was right, but the individual participants driving the volume were wrong.
So Trader A and Trader B are forced into a panicked, split-second readjustment. They have to unwind their wrong positions simultaneously.
Yeah, they buy and sell furiously, the volume explodes, the volatility spikes.
But because their frantic trades offset each other, the actual price of the currency does not move an inch.
That is a fundamental shift in perspective for a lot of people. We naturally assume high volume means a significant price trend is underway.
Right, you see high volume and think, oh, it's crashing or surging.
But high volume can literally just be the sound of thousands of algorithms and dealers simultaneously realizing they were wrong and frantically cleaning up their mess.
It is literally the sound of a shattered consensus.
Exactly.
This leads us to how these trades actually cascade through the system. The paper touches on an incredibly fascinating concept called the hot potato effect.
Oh, this is crucial. This was originally modeled by the economist Richard Lyons.
Right. It explains how a single secret from a massive corporation sets the whole banking system on fire.
It really does.
Walk me through the mechanics of a hot potato trade. How does information actually enter this sterile electronic interbank market?
Okay, think about a giant Japanese automaker. Toyota, for example.
Okay, Toyota.
They have just sold a record number of cars in the United States, and they need to repatriate $500 million back into Japanese yen to pay their factory workers and local suppliers.
Right. They don't just log on to a public exchange and click a button to sell $500 million.
Absolutely not. That would
Yeah.
crash the price immediately.
So what do?
They quietly call a senior dealer at a major bank, say the Bank of Tokyo Mitsubishi.
Okay.
This quiet corporate order contains what we call private information. It tells the dealer that a significant shift in currency demand is occurring right now.
Because Toyota knows they have to move this money.
Right. The dealer takes the order, they execute it for Toyota.
But now that specific dealer at that specific bank is holding a tremendous amount of inventory risk.
Huge risk. They just bought $500 million.
If the dollar depreciates in the next 10 minutes, that dealer's daily profit and loss statement is completely destroyed.
They are holding the hot potato.
And they do not want to hold it.
No. Bank dealers have strict risk limits. So the dealer immediately starts passing trades into the broader interbank market via the EBS platform to offset their risk.
They can't dump all $500 million at once, though, right?
No, they break it into like $50 million chunks and quietly offer it to Citibank, JP Morgan, and Deutsche Bank.
Okay, now those other banks see the sudden aggressive flow of dollars hitting their screens. They realize someone somewhere knows something they don't.
Exactly. A whale is moving.
So they panic.
They take their piece of the hot potato, but they don't want the risk either. So they immediately toss it to another bank.
They shave off a fraction of a pip for profit and pass the risk down the line.
Yeah. So one initial corporate order turns into a cascading chain reaction, a spiraling vortex of volume and volatility.
The banks are furiously tossing the toxic risk around like a hot potato, probing the market, trying to figure out where the new equilibrium is.
This is exactly why the volume numbers look so staggering on the EBS platform data. You are not just seeing the original trade.
No, you are seeing the echoes of that trade bouncing between terrified algorithm and risk-averse dealers.
Terrified is the right word.
Let's ground this in a specific visual example from the study. We talked earlier about the Tankan survey being a market killer.
Right, the business sentiment survey.
Let's look at the actual shockwave it creates on the EBS platform.
Okay, so the Bank of Japan releases the Tankan survey at exactly 8:50 a.m. Japan Standard Time.
If you look at the physical data charts plotted by the researchers, the visual is just staggering. Picture a completely still morning lake. The water is absolute glass.
And then, precisely at 8:50 a.m., a depth charge is detonated underwater.
The trading deals instantly, violently spike to more than 3 times their normal volume.
3 times the volume in a single second.
The data shows the Tankan Manufacturing Index drives an extra 23 transactions per second instantly.
Which is huge.
And that compounds to hundreds of extra transactions over the next half hour.
And this shockwave is not a quick little ripple either.
Right. The lake does not just settle down after a few minutes. The reverberations from that 8:50 a.m. data drop last for an agonizing 3 hours.
3 solid hours.
But wait, 3 hours? We just established that the price adjusts in 60 seconds. Why is the volume elevated for 3 hours?
Because of the hot potato effect, combined with the subjective nature of the Tankan itself?
Because it's a sentiment survey.
Exactly. It requires interpretation. The market spends 3 solid hours digesting, debating, and fighting over the sentiment of Japanese manufacturing executives.
So the risk is passed back and forth until every portfolio is perfectly aligned with the new narrative.
It is absolute carnage, based entirely on a mailed-out survey of business sentiment.
But here's the most depressing reality for the Japanese markets. It is a truly asymmetric war.
Yeah, this part of the study is sobering. The ultimate fate of the Japanese yen is not decided in Tokyo.
No, it is decided in Washington.
Right.
Which feels deeply counterintuitive. I mean, you would naturally assume that Japanese domestic economic data would be the primary driver of the Japanese currency.
You think so. But the data shows that Japanese macroeconomic announcements have far less impact on the yen than U.S. macroeconomic data does.
It's not even close. Like when the United States releases its non-farm payrolls report, which is the comprehensive measure of U.S. employment, the impact on the yen is devastatingly large.
It absolutely dwarfs the impact of Japan's own internal metrics, like the Tankan or the GDP.
Is this just a symptom of the specific time period this data covers, like the early 2000s, or is this a structural reality?
It's a structural reality of the global financial system.
Right.
The U.S. dollar is the undisputed global reserve currency.
Right. It's the sun in the center of the solar system.
Exactly. And the yen, the euro, the pound, they are just planets orbiting that sun.
So in the global currency hierarchy, the yen is largely a passive player. It violently reacts to American economic health rather than its own domestic health.
This raises a deeply important question about financial sovereignty, honestly.
How so?
Well, you can have the most precise 1-second EBS data feed in downtown Tokyo. You can have the fastest algorithms collocated next to the exchange servers.
Yeah.
You can build the perfect model of the Japanese economy. But if the U.S. Federal Reserve sneezes, the yen catches a severe cold.
The gravity of the U.S. dollar is completely inescapable.
Exactly.
It's like the Japanese data drops are like local weather. You might get a rainstorm or a sunny day. But the U.S. data drops are like a shift in the global climate. You have to trade the climate, not just the weather.
That's a great way to put it. Let's examine one more brilliant insight from the study, though.
Oh, the central bank meetings.
Yes. It revolves around how the market reads between the lines of official policy. The delayed metaphor of the central bank.
Right. Because when a Bank of Japan monetary policy meeting drags on into the afternoon, the market smells blood in the water.
It's so fascinating. Unlike scheduled data drops, like the Tankan at 8:50 a.m., The Bank of Japan's monetary policy meetings do not have a strict, scheduled release time for their decisions.
They just announce the policy changes whenever the meeting concludes.
Exactly. And the timing of that announcement is a powerful signal all by itself.
Because the data proves that if the meeting ends early, say around lunchtime, the market barely blinks. The transaction volume stays totally normal.
Why do you think that is?
Well, an early finish means absolute consensus, right? Everyone in the boardroom looked at the data and agreed.
Exactly. There's no policy change, no heated debate, just a quick lunch and back to work.
But if that meeting extends past 2:30 p.m.,
The market transaction volume becomes monstrous.
the chart literally looks like a tidal wave.
Yeah, because a long meeting means the central bankers are arguing.
And argument means division. Division means uncertainty.
And an uncertainty points to an impending policy surprise that the market has not fully priced in.
The psychology here is just amazing. The longer the doors stay closed, the wider the probability distribution becomes in the minds of the traders outside.
They literally start pre-trading the conflict. They're trading the clock.
They are reacting to the absence of information. The delay itself becomes the data point.
It's brilliant.
So let's pull back and synthesize this entire journey. What are we actually looking at when we see a trading screen flashing red and green?
Right, when we see these massive spikes in volume and instantaneous shifts in price.
Because the absolute chaos you see on a trading screen is not a broken system.
Not at all. It is the brutal, highly necessary process of finding the truth.
The price discovery funnel. It works like a perfectly tuned machine.
Walk us through the steps.
Step 1. The macro data drops at a specific millisecond. Step 2. Heterogeneous interpretation instantly shatters the old consensus. Trader A and Trader B realize their internal models were wrong.
Yep.
Step 3. Massive, seemingly meaningless trades fly back and forth as banks play hot potato with the inventory risk.
The panic phase.
And then step 4. The chaos settles and a brand new price equilibrium is reached.
And all that structural reorganization, all that mathematical violence happens within 60 seconds.
So what looks like a wild, irrational casino to the outside world is actually a hyper-efficient supercomputer.
Yeah.
It is calculating the new baseline of reality using human greed and fear as its processing power.
The market is definitely not a casino of chance. It is a ruthless mechanism for aggregating human disagreement into a single, undeniable number.
Which brings us to a compelling final thought, because you and I need to talk about the ghost of globalization in the AI era.
Oh, right. Because everything we've talked about.
The breathtaking one-second mechanics that Ito and Hashimoto uncovered, right? They were based on data from 2001 to 2005.
That's a long time ago in tech years.
Exactly. That was an era driven by human psychology, human disagreement, human dealers on EBS terminals playing hot potato with corporate orders.
Yeah, it was a very different world.
So what happens today? What happens right now when AI algorithms have completely taken the wheel? The machines do not have subjective feelings about a 2% GDP consensus.
And that is the ultimate unresolved question. I mean, in today's market, which is dominated by algorithmic trading and neural networks, have these milliseconds of human doubt and disagreement been eliminated?
Right. Have the machines created a state of perfect efficiency where the price jumps in a microsecond with zero hot potato volume?
Or is it something darker? Have the algorithms simply learned to mathematically model human panic, weaponizing our systemic disagreements even faster than before?
That is something to really think about. The next time a major economic number flashes across your screen, you need to ask yourself, are you just looking at a statistic? Or are you witnessing the invisible split-second war of millions of hands betting against each other?
It definitely changes how you watch the news.
It absolutely does. Keep diving deep.